check. Mic check, 1, 2. Sorry I'm late, guys. Sorry I'm late, everybody. I know I had this scheduled for 5 o'clock, but hey, at least you can make it, brother. What's up, Eat Raw Meat? I know I feel bad, man. It's like I can't do the morning streams as much anymore, so you guys over there on the different continents have a hard time making it, but at least you can pop in and say hi, man. I don't know what that was. I think that's probably like a picture falling off my wall. Got some raw oysters. Some raw chicken today. Some raw butter. Raw eggs, raw milk, raw honey. Should be a nice little feast. Little banquet. Man, I crave the hell out of these oysters, man. Like, whatever's in these oysters, my body loves this shit. It's like, it's so interesting that the hardest to get foods and like the most expensive foods are the ones that I crave all the time. You know what I mean? The most high priced stuff. The stuff that just, they don't want you to have. What's up, Beyond Me? What's up, Bradley? Gregory, how's it going, man? Nice. Hey, Spheria, can you unblock me? I think you might have maybe accidentally blocked me from my old channel or something. Check and make sure you don't have me blocked on Gotis, because I tried to comment on your stream today twice and it didn't show up. So if you could check that for me, that would be sweet. That way I can pop in and say what's up to you guys. But I'm thinking you might have blocked me because of my old channel name had carnivore in it or something, which is, I don't, you know, I totally understand. Eat Raw Meat says Trank Fufano just broke into your house. Yeah, I'm getting swatted. It's the SWAT team. You guys also ate oysters? Right on, man. Sweet. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, Goddess, I'm thinking maybe you accidentally blocked me, or either that or YouTube is fucking with us, man. We'll get it figured out. Bradley David Good says, I got Gotis and Luna on the right side and you on the left there watching you and commenting about your oysters. That's funny. Oysters are so good, man. I can't believe I went over 35 years of my life without ever having an oyster. It's no wonder my body is like just craving them like crazy, you know? H the Human says, hey Weston, I enjoyed some oysters today as well. They're the best, man. I think oysters might be my second favorite food to eggs. I think for me it goes eggs. Actually, I take that back. It goes milk, eggs, and then oysters. Those are my top 3 favorite foods. Wolf Shan says, I find dedication is key. Project dedication into every movement you make and focus on the moment. Yes. Gotis says, done. Sweet. Awesome. Fat of the Land says, yo, Weston, Gotis, and Luna. Right on. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Fat of the Land Um, Thanks again for recommending that book, Devil in the Milk, because even though even though the A1 versus A2 thing is still a little bit sketchy, I know a lot of people still have some people still have issues digesting A1 for some reason, but that's a completely separate issue than what they're talking about in that book, Devil in the Milk. They're pointing towards it leading towards diabetes, heart disease, and all sorts of crazy stuff. That I'm pretty sure is debunked through the pasteurization thing. So I appreciate you recommending that book because I don't think I would have discovered like the truth about that unless I read that book yet. You know, sometimes you got to read the books and find out that you disagree with the book, and then that leads you more towards the truth than actually agreeing with the book. You know what I mean? Jeremy R says, "Damn, I haven't got any oysters yet." Really? Oh man, they weren't hard. I mean, they weren't easy to find, man. These were actually extremely difficult to find. I have to walk into a warehouse and just basically walk through like where people are like eating lunch and stuff. It's crazy. And just ask. I gotta ask the guy. I gotta ask the alpha male warehouse guy. Grug says, "Hello, are you gay?" That's funny. I don't think I've been asked that one yet. No, I'm not gay. I am a hetero. I'm a heterosexual. Fatted Land says, "I've been binging on raw cream and eggs today. So good." Yeah, raw cream is so relaxing, man. It just like knocks you out. H the Human says, "The only dangerous thing about oysters is opening them. LOL. Don't worry about the knife, worry about the shell." Oh yeah, I've sliced myself up a couple times. It took a little bit to heal it too because I think I got some like weird uh, oyster bacteria or something inside the cut. Some kind of ocean bacteria that my skin wasn't used to. It took a little bit to heal. Got some more raw chicken today, guys. I'm not dead. I didn't die of food poisoning. Can you believe it? I had a pound of raw chicken yesterday, and not only did I not get food poisoning, I feel really freaking good today, man. So there's something in this chicken that my body really likes. It must be true what Aajonus says. It's possibly regenerating like my nerves and stuff. Jeremy R., I'm near the Gulf in Texas right now, but haven't got the oysters yet. Got Texas raw milk, cream, and raw cheese though. I read your message, man. That was a really nice update you posted there. That's really cool, man. I'm glad you're um, getting some benefits there. So I'm guessing you weren't drinking raw milk at all, and then you just started drinking raw milk down there in Texas, and you found some extreme benefits from that, huh? That's good to hear, man. The Midwest is a great place to eat raw. It's easy to find this stuff. Arginus Archive, what's up? You said you just got advertised by Gatus. Sweet. Right on. Fatted Land, another fun book is Minerals for the Genetic Code. Some pretty wild info in there. Huh. I'm gonna have to write that one down. I don't got my pen with me. You're gonna have to remind me of that one. Eat Raw Meat says, you are gay but not homo gay in the original meaning, of course. Definitely. I'm super gay today. Super gay. As in happy. Weird spells. Do you buy your raw chicken from the grocery store or butcher? I got this stuff from, it's this place called Cure Cooking. It's about 20 or 30 minutes north of where I'm at. And it's like the tiniest little shop you've ever seen. Like you walk in it's on really small town, right on the main road. Oh, thank you. Right on the main road. And you walk in there and there's like 6 feet of space and there's just a counter. and it's just like a freezer behind him. And this guy's got the good stuff, man. He's got the fresh local Wagyu beef, fresh local pastured chicken. He's got 6-year-old aged sharp cheddar cheese. He's got all this like crazy cured bacons and stuff. He's got this thing called Bacon Club, and he has all these different kinds of bacon recipes from all over the world. And he's got bone marrow. He's got stuff like pig head. He's got like blood pudding. I mean, it's just like, it was awesome to find that place, man. Andreas says, Sferia brought me here. Sweet. Right on, man. That's cool. We kicked a couple people over. Right on, man. I appreciate that. Zanim says, have you taken drugs? How would you compare the raw meat high? Yes, I have taken drugs. I currently don't use any drugs or alcohol, and I probably never will again, but definitely taken a variety of drugs in my life, and the raw meat high is really just like, how do I explain it? It's like instant mental energy. It's a bit stimulating. It can be a little bit stimulating, but I haven't eaten like tons of it at one time to really figure out like what it feels like. But it definitely gives you like a little euphoria and a little bit of like mental stimulation. Bradley David Good, isn't it funny how the chicken brainwashing is still strong? I ate so much of it and still have my mother's voice telling me about it. Yeah, I was just imagining like telling this to my family, like at Christmas time. Like, oh yeah, I figured out that raw chicken is like one of my favorite foods now. And just like seeing my little brother go, oh hell no. That's exactly how you'd say it too. Oh hell no. Hager says, I've eaten 2 raw eggs so far and I keep getting acid reflux. What's wrong, me or low quality eggs? Could be either one. Make sure you're getting good eggs, man. Eggs should digest pretty easily. P. Miller says, what up, what up? Aajonus Archive says, can you make me moderator in chat? Sometimes the messages are silent and deleted by YouTube. Yeah, sure, I'll make you mod. Bashir, how can I do raw on a budget? Go to the grocery store, get your beef from there, and just try to find a cheap local source of milk and eggs, and just try to eat mostly milk and eggs with like a little bit of beef, you know? Jeremy R says, I get raw milk for the last 2 years, but in Illinois. Oh, okay. Thanks for the subs, guys. Gregory says, do you know where to get good food in New York? Check realmilk.com and check Eat Wild, the National Ranch and Farm Directory. Bradley David Good says, yeah, Go just posted the link to your channel because people were asking who he was talking to. Right on. Sweet. Gregor DeFranco, is the Wagyu expensive? No. Can you believe that I got Wagyu steaks for $7 a pound? Runt says, sup all, sunlight doing you good, Wes. Yes, I got some sun today. Looking less like a corpse over here. I was looking half dead for a moment because we didn't get the sun for like probably, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that. It happens every year around here. Good to see you, Runt. Fernando Montero says, from Goddess channel too. Right on, man. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Bradley David Good, how'd you find that bacon place? Word of mouth, man. Word of mouth is powerful. I was at Whole Foods buying some salmon, and the guy was like, I was telling him I eat it all raw. I love to tell people that I eat stuff raw because it just incites conversation. And I was like, yeah, I eat it all raw. And I just like to see their reactions, you know, kind of test them. And he goes, yeah, I'm familiar with your channel. And I was like, really? Apparently I told the other butcher that I ate raw, and then that guy told him. So the next time I came in, he recognized me, and he was really cool, man. Super cool guy. He was like, oh yeah, I'm super into local farm foods and all that stuff, as he's like cutting up Whole Foods fish, you know. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, there's this place called Cure Cooking, and that's where I get all of my local beef and chicken and stuff like that. And he hooked me up big time. And I was able to hook him up with my raw milk farmer, so it was like a really cool conversation. But just talk to your butchers, guys. I've talked to like two or three. I've talked to all my butchers, obviously, but 2 butchers is where I found my oysters, and that's how I found my chicken. Jeremy R says, I've been getting A2 since I started, but here it's A1, A2, and not as good of a taste, but the same great effects. That's how I feel, too. Wolfshan says, I eat rotten liver in front of my mother. Awesome. Bradley says, high meat makes me feel like a person should feel content, happy, and clear-minded, all is well, but not foggy like drugs. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like you're feeling the euphoria without all the toxicity at the same time. Because every time you take drugs, you're feeling like the toxic effects at the same time. Fat of the Land says, the normies are so brainwashed, just look at the carnivores in nature. They eat raw meat and don't need to exercise, and yet they are in perfect condition, no degenerative diseases. Exactly. I gave up on exercise, too. That was like the coolest thing ever. It takes so much time and energy to do that. And like I was lifting weights like crazy, and I've always lifted weights, and I was thinking about how when I'm lifting weights, I'm basically tearing up my muscle tissue. And so then my body has to devote extra resources in order to rebuild my muscles all the time. And so that takes away from the parts of my body that need to be rebuilt that have potentially been damaged from just whatever toxicity and stuff. So when I was like lifting weights, I felt like I was taking away from the natural like rebuilding processes that the raw primal diet was doing to my body. So, and I haven't lifted weights in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And I keep feeling better and better. It's interesting. Wolfstrand says, high meat and raw milk cured my eyesight. Interesting. You know, I had those floater things, really bad floaters in my eyes and stuff like that for a while. And I still got a little bit of them, but way better. Black Picture says, hey, how's it going? Hey, what's up? Kai Sauce, are you concerned about microplastics from coastally sourced seafood? I don't know if that can get inside oysters, but I'm sure that's possibly an issue. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that might be an issue. I haven't really heard anything about that or seen anything with my own eyes to make it an issue, but there's always going to be some toxicity issues. UI. Good day to y'all raw food enthusiasts, and of course to the bears. That's funny. You said it just like Vox. Yep, the bears. The bears are welcome, even though they banned me from Owen's stream. They're still welcome here, because I got a lot better information than old Big Bear can offer. No disrespect on him, but he's all about them green smoothies and vegetables, and I need to correct him on that stuff. But he's getting onto it. He's waking up. He's waking up, man. I'm trying not to judge him because, you know, he's in the middle of the waking up process. I'm trying not to judge him for it, but, you know, he's taken a windy road towards nutrition and health when he could just buy We Want to Live and just get all the answers right there, you know? Bradley David Good. Or Helmet says, I had my first raw high liver today, 3 months old. It had a lot of liquid, was fizzy, had to bite into it, a little liver flavor. Sounds good. Mine gets fizzy too. Bradley David Good, I'm hooked on Gerald Steiner. Runt says, true healthy people look better than people with extra muscles. I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because every time I would lift weights and stuff, I was starting to worry about looking like actually out of proportion. I was like, am I looking out like naturally out of proportion when I'm like building up my shoulders and my chest and stuff like that? Yeah, I feel like you look healthier when you're just in proportions, even if you're skinnier. Zanium says, is raw meat that was frozen good to eat? Does it lose nutrients? Yeah, it surely loses nutrients. It's obvious. You can tell by the color loss and stuff like that. But yeah, it's good to eat. In a natural setting, we would have eaten frozen food, guys. Like, especially like in the dead of winter, when it's like, let's say it was the dead of winter and you were in Scandinavia and there was like 2 feet of snow everywhere, right? You might have a hard issue hunting at that time. So you're gonna want to take your hunts from when the weather was nice, maybe store it and freeze it for the winter. Stuff like that. My grass-fed beef farmer, he kind of red pilled me on that stuff. Old people know what's up too, guys. You can't just discredit people, um, because a lot of the older generation, like the boomer generation, they don't know how to eat properly. But there's a lot of them, like especially the farmers that do. It's pretty encouraging to see that we're not the only ones that know how to eat right. Andrea says Owen almost died from cyanide poisoning this week, calling it a panic attack. Those apricot seeds really kills people. I know, dude. He's doing stuff that is really dangerous. He's like eating like garlic and shit, and I'm just like, I'm making comments on his D live streams just on the comment section because I got banned from the chat. I'm like the only person in the freaking bear community that knows this stuff about Aajonus planets, and they banned me from the chat. So it's just amazing. It's like so hard to get through to him. I'm gonna have to write him a letter or something. I should have done a long time ago. Because I know he's on the quest for health and stuff like that. But yeah, he's getting into all these like herbs and green smoothies and stuff like that. And I'm just like, how is it possible that he's so freaking smart and he's red pilled on everything in the world, but he hasn't found Aajonus planets yet, you know? Yeah, and he needs to quit the coffee, absolutely. Aisha says, how are you not ill eating raw and our body is not used to it? It's okay for you. I mean, as long as the food is healthy, it's a healthy animal, it's good for you, you know? Your body is more used to eating raw food than cooked food, believe it or not. It's so easy to digest. This chicken is delicious, man. This is like, I like this almost better than fish. I like the taste better than fish. Bradley David Good. I have unheated honey and Gerald Steiner covered by a cloth. Going for 3 days now. Probably drink it at 7 days. Sounds good. Azul says that B17 seed healing cancer nonsense only will get you cyanide poisoning. Dude, I don't know what to do. Like, I think I'm going to write him a letter because I think that's the only way that I'll get through to him. I'll be like, hey, Owen, guess what? I also have a 145 IQ. Will you just be quiet and listen to me for a second? I'm not a fucking idiot. And I've been studying this stuff for 2 years. You know what I mean? I just don't know how else I'm going to get through to this guy because they banned me from the chat. I make comments on the live streams, and a lot of them I'm just like pissed off. I'm like, damn it, man. Like, because I know he's got such a huge following. And if Big Bear says drink green smoothies, the next day you're going to have 100,000 of his followers drinking green smoothies. So it's really, really important that you know what you're talking about when it comes to nutrition, man. But like I said, I'm trying not to judge him about it. I'm trying not to get mad anymore. I actually got mad a couple times, and I'm just realizing that he's just hopefully on his way, but he's just doing what we were doing. I did the same exact thing, man. I was drinking green smoothies. I was eating piles of raw vegetables. I did the same freaking thing. So I hope, God willing, he gets through this phase and he discovers the raw meat thing eventually. He's already hinting that he like does raw steaks and stuff like that. So I do truly like the guy and I care for the guy, and I wish him the best. H the Human, a mistake I made when starting this diet was buying salmon roe and expensive foods thinking it would cure everything straight away, lol. Then I had no money for the vital basics, milk and eggs, etc. I did the same thing, man. When I first started my channel, I was blowing ridiculous amounts of my savings on $16 a pound organic grass-fed steaks because I thought that was the way. I was just being careful, you know what I mean, at the beginning. But man, I'm so glad I discovered like chuck roast. Hey, Severius says Haleman said that coronavirus is an anagram for carnivorous, and they are warning people about raw meat. That is very interesting. Very interesting idea. Huh. That's pretty interesting, yeah. Yeah, they want to subconsciously set fear on the word carnivorous. Interesting. And Coronas. Corona beer. Corona beer's taking a hit too, because some people are so dumb they think it comes from Corona beer. UI, the Bears banned you. Do you know what message triggered them? That's not like BB. Yeah, I absolutely know what message triggered them. I had just showed up in the chat and I had told them I was red pilling them on the Black Plague and polio. And I explained to them that the Black Plague wasn't from rats and fleas, it was from burning coal indoors, and there was a mercury buildup in people's homes, and people were inhaling mercury for multiple generations. And after 3 generations, their lungs had deteriorated so badly that they developed the plague detoxification in order to remove the heavy metals from their lungs. And the farmers that burned wood on the outskirts of town, they actually didn't get the plague. So it all came from burning coal. And actually, it was Slap Wiesel specifically that banned me. He got like mad at me. He was like, "You're spreading dangerous information," and he banned me right away. But it was also right after I got done telling them that polio came from possibly came from eating canned food from heavy metal toxicity. So it's like extremely like logical stuff that they can't prove or disprove, but it's a much better explanation than it comes from magical little bacteria and viruses, you know. But Slap Weasel actually unbanned me. So I actually like went back. I humbled myself, and I got a hold of Slap Weasel on his D Live channel, and I hit him up, and I was like, "Hey man, could you unban me?" Like, I can't remember what I said to him, but he was cool enough to unban me. Oh no, I saw him on Jesse Lee Peterson's streams, and I said, "Hey man, can you unban me?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure," no, because I think he figured out I was a good guy because I'm on Jesse's streams too. And then I went back on the D Live chat, and I think I said something else, maybe about polio or something like that, and they banned me within like 15 seconds of saying it. It was like so strange, dude. And I know it's not like a Big Bear to do it, and it wasn't Owen's fault, but I did technically kind of blame Owen for it because he's basically employing people that are banning people for no reason. So, and then I got mad because Owen got on a bunch of his streams and said, "I'm so sick of people telling me that they got banned for no reason, blah, blah, blah." And it's just like the whole thing just kind of, I had to stop watching the streams, man. Aajonus Archive, frozen meat only created skin disorders. Those are reversed with raw fat. Eskimos had a wrinkled skin. That's the only disease they had. That's interesting. Huh. Israt says, "Hey Weston, what's pastured chicken?" They get to roam around a lot more and eat bugs and grass and stuff like that. Gregory DeFranco, is it true freezing kills nutrients? Yes. Runt says, "Wow, they're lost if they kicked you off the stream. That's why I never became a bear. Respect to Owen, but no groupism." Yeah, that's kind of how I started feeling about it. You know, I was like, how can you create like a tribe or a community or a following when there's no like vetting or screening process, and all someone has to do is start a YouTube account and put bear after their name? That's the only qualification that you need to become a bear. And so I was like, well, no wonder I'm getting banned by people. It's like there's no real like screening process to become a bear. Andreas, I'm always hinting in the chat that raw carnivore diet is the way to go, but you are right, there's not that many bears understanding diet. I always link to people to Sherry's channel, he convinced me. Yeah, I'm just trying to just, like, I'm not upset anymore that I got like shut down by the chat, because I didn't really hang out in the chat that much anyways. I was just the type of guy that would pop in and just drop some gravy, you know what I mean? But I realized that you can't really, you can't ladle gravy when people don't want it, you know what I'm saying? So That's what I kind of realized. And I've ran into a lot of issues with that. Like ladling gravy to my family, ladling gravy to the bears. It's like, apparently they don't want it, or they only want it from certain people. That's the other thing. So, whatever, you know. I got my own channel. It's not that big of a deal. French carnivore ate some raw beef today. A few minutes later, I feel like I'm high. Really? Is that the first time you had raw beef? Fat of the land. Yeah, that vitamin B17 is complete garbage. It's from a book that G. Edward Griffin wrote. Gregory says, there's this YouTuber, Alicia Long, that I watch that tells people to eat garlic cloves. Dale Lloyd, who is this Owen? Owen Benjamin, man. He's literally like one of the funniest comedians in the world. He probably is the funniest comedian in the world right now. But he's a really entertaining guy. He's on D Live right now because he got banned. Andreas, you should watch today's D live stream from Owen. He talked about diet, and I said that veganism is agenda. He didn't agree, but was pretty hard towards the vegans in the chat, so we will get it soon. I hope so. But you're also talking about a guy that lives on like a vegetable and fruit plantation, so I wouldn't hold your breath on that. Black picture. Why does A2 raw cow milk cause me excess phlegm buildup? Mucus is a good thing. If you read We Want to Live and you study Aajonus from Other Planets, mucus is a very, very good thing. Mucus is the substance that removes toxins and stuff from your body. And milk is just a good mucus producer. So it's healthy. Azul says, really, people actually think that the virus comes from the beer? Oh yeah, definitely. There's some real dummies out there. UI, yeah, it annoys me how angry Big Bear gets when people inform him about the toxicity of green smoothies, coffee, etc. They're just trying to help. No one is spiraling, but as you said, he will learn. Yeah, you know, keep in mind, man, Big Bear just quit like a fairly moderate drinking habit. That guy used to crush a lot of beers. And if there's one thing I've noticed on this diet, guys, when I'm talking to people about this diet that like to drink, they're the most resistant to this. It's very interesting, man, because there's a lot of drinkers in Omaha and Nebraska where I live. And when I talk to people about raw meat and stuff like that, they are repulsed by it, especially the ones that drink a lot, because your gut is your second brain. So when you're drinking a lot, you're starting to listen to your gut. Your gut is controlling your hunger and your cravings and stuff like that. Now, Owen just quit drinking cold turkey like last year or something like that, so his gut is probably still pretty fucked up. And I think what's going on is he's listening to his gut a little bit too much. And I actually listened to a bit of his stream the other day. It was actually kind of interesting he's talking about like the demons in your gut and stuff like that. So he's really like, he's getting onto it, man. I think God is slowly waking him up, but he's got to let that like vegetable plantation go, man. Like he's got this gigantic like vegetable garden and stuff, and like he's got to let that go, you know what I'm saying? And he needs to start just focusing on meat and milk, you know. Nero says, imagine Owen eating raw meat in his streams. Damn, so many people would end up woke. Yeah, I know. Well, imagine Owen is already a brilliant dude, and imagine what his mind would be like on the raw primal diet. So I pray he wakes up, man. And especially if you got his kids on it, that would be an awesome family. Daniel says, I just realized another anagram, Corona Raccoon. Interesting. Beach Fitness, I had to stop watching Owen Benjamin recently after he keeps promoting green smoothies. Yep, I had to do the same thing, man. It was, you know, just, I couldn't watch it. French carnivore says Owen is unstable. He drinks too much coffee and eats his wife veggies. Seems satanic to me. He's waking up, man. Keep in mind you're talking about a guy that was in the belly of the beast in Hollywood, man. He was all about his fancy pants and lollipops for a while. So he's going through an extreme transition. Probably a transition of the likes that we've never seen before happen to somebody, you know? Andreas, the fact that Owen is giving his children raw goat milk will make them so strong compared to kids without it, but I agree Owen will wake up to that diet agenda soon. Yeah. Yeah, he's already drinking raw milk and stuff, guys, which is like the first step. Ole says, how would you go about getting a hold of raw milk? I called around to farms in my city and none of them would take the risk of selling me raw milk. If you're in America, check out realmilk.com. If you're in a different continent, I'm not 100% sure how you do that. You'd have to go online. Azul, Owen Benjamin, the actor? Right, yeah, actor, comedian. P. Millie thinks just because the veggies grow in his yard, that means they're healthy. Right. Yeah, definitely brainwashed. He came from Hollywood and California, man, you know? A lot of veggie eaters over there. Eat raw meat. What do you think about Owen being a comedian when you know now that laughing isn't a good thing? I definitely thought hard about that after I watched that video from Matrimark about how laughing is basically all about misfortune. And then I started looking at all of Owen's jokes and stuff like that, and I was like, holy shit, it's right. Like, every single one of his jokes is basically playing on the misfortune of another human being. But that's not just Owen, that's just the nature of comedy in general. So when you really think about what comedy is, guys, and what makes you laugh, you're 100% of the time, you're laughing at the misfortune of someone else. It's very, very interesting. So it makes you kind of think a little bit differently about comedians in a way. Gregory, should you blow your nose as you are to remove mucus from your body? Yeah, because if you got excess mucus or you need to blow it out, it's probably because you got some kind of toxin going on in there that you need to remove out. Fat of the land. Tell the bears to go read The Republic by Plato. He tells the elites to feed the slaves plants and grains to make them weak and docile. No doubt. This is ancient knowledge, man. It is known that the aristocracy in Europe would have high meat parties. Slaves eat plants, elites eat meat. That's interesting. High meat parties, huh? Nero says Plato is an ancient commie. I love that word commie. It's like one of my favorite words. UI says it's a shame how even extremely intelligent people get so emotionally attached to the foods they've eaten their entire lives. It's like some type of Stockholm Syndrome for food. Well, Owen was explaining, now, I can still learn from Owen, man. He's still a brilliant dude with an extremely high IQ. And we do think like very similarly, so I think we kind of complement each other in a way. And he was talking about how it was, what was he saying? He was saying like fear is what feeds on the bad food in your gut and stuff like that. Like it's all one thing. Like the bad bacteria in your gut is the same thing as like fear, the spirit of fear feeding on the food. And so the spirit of fear, when it's inside of you, it drives you to eat like shitty food. And then that in turn puts like bad bacteria in your gut. And then the fear actually feeds on the bad bacteria. It was really interesting. He was like blending all of this stuff together, but it was like pretty fascinating. And it actually made sense because he was talking about how like what was he saying, like vampires or demons in your gut or something like that. And I always think about that serial killer nurse you guys got to look this up, man. It's really fascinating. It's a interrogation video on YouTube of a serial killer nurse in Canada, this big fat lady that was going around shooting insulin into her patients until they died. And she, during her interrogation, you could tell she actually like repented for what she did, and she told the interrogator everything that happened, and she said she was listening to voices inside of her stomach, And she was like this real like unhealthy looking fat lady, and she said there was voices in her stomach that told her to kill the people. And then she said after she killed the person with the insulin, she heard laughter from inside of her belly. Freaking freaky shit, man. But it's very interesting when you combine that with the fact when you think about how mental disorders start in your gut, and then you start thinking about how demons can inhabit people's bodies, and then maybe it's possible that demons can inhabit your body if you're on a shitty diet. It's just really weird, man. Daniel says, would you deny Jesus if you were threatened? That's a good question, man. That's a good question. So here's the thing. I'm going to be 100% honest right now, and I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't even know if Jesus existed. I am just basing my idea of Jesus on what was written in a book. I never met Jesus. I never shook his hand. I've never seen him with my own eyes. I only believe that he existed because I read it inside of a book, okay? Now, I'm not saying that he didn't exist. All I'm saying is I don't know if he actually existed or if the book is written about a spirit that exists. Now, I do think the spirit of Jesus exists, where it's the spirit of forgiveness, the spirit of repentance, the spirit of not judging people, loving your neighbor, loving your family. That 100% is real, 100%. And if I was threatened to deny those concepts, I wouldn't deny it. I couldn't, man. Even if it came to death, I couldn't. It would be hard. If they wanted to torture me, that would be kind of hard, I think. But if they wanted to kill me, I mean, you have to speak the truth until the death, man. That's the point. You can't live in fear. Black picture, is freezing milk okay? I've heard that it works. It's not ideal, but I've heard it works. Runt, a garden seems so much more difficult to care for than some animals too. Right. Yeah, you're just basically making a garden for like the wild animals in your forest, you know? Plus you have to worry about you just have to do all sorts of crazy stuff with the soil. Yeah, it's insane work. Andreas, Owen seems to be the type of guy that could actually try the primal diet, but have a hard time seeing how he would manage to convince his wife to feed the kids raw meat, right? That's why I would never marry anybody that would be okay with that, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, I'm not interested in having like a battle over food and nutrition. It's such a fundamental thing in life that you should just agree on with your wife from the beginning, you know? Azul says, I never thought about that angle. I live in a place where people do drink a lot, and when they listen to me telling them I eat raw animals products, they go berserk. Yeah, alcohol controls people. And I think it nukes their gut, and it makes them resistant to, it like nukes all of the good gut bacteria when you drink too much, and then it makes it hard for people to get back to normal, to come back to a regular diet. It's almost like the further down you get down the tunnel of unhealthiness, the harder it is to get back up to the tunnel. And the people that are the furthest down in the tunnel are the ones that need it the most. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. The people that are just kind of like slightly down the tunnel of unhealthiness, it's easy for them to find the light. It's easy for them to see the light coming through the tunnel, you know what I mean? UI says, I heard Owen say that eating raw meat is totally normal and safe, at least once during a stream, and that was 6 to 12 months ago. It takes a while to unbrainwash folks on the diet, more so than other conspiracies. I've heard him hint at it, definitely. Eat raw meat says, I think I have a line in my gut, all that growling, or a black metal singer. Andreas, I considered sending Owen the book We Want to Live by Aajonus, but people send him books all the time, so he'd probably not be motivated to read it. We should convince him to at least look into it. Yeah, maybe I'll email him the PDF. That might be a good idea. That would be better than just writing him. Maybe I'll just shoot him an email. Is it still, can you guys confirm, is his email still why didn't they laugh at gmail.com? If that's what it is, I might send him an email real quick. Raw chicken is so good, man. So good. Casey Allen Shoby. Owen who? Owen Benjamin. You're going to have a hard time finding him because he's like the most banned dude of all time. If it wasn't for Owen, I never would have learned about like gamma males and stuff like that. Because Owen introduced me to Vox Day and a lot of stuff. So I try not to judge the guy, and I try not to get too hard on him about the diet thing because he's woken me up to like a lot of different types of stuff. But to be honest with you, is it really the stuff he woke me up to? Is it really more important than diet and nutrition? You know what I mean? Like the stuff that I'm doing right here, I think is arguably more important. Just as important. Black picture. I woke up after I had my kid. Bad timing. Hey, dude, at least be grateful that you at least woke up, man. You know? I woke up in my 30s. You know what I mean? My mid 30s. I know people on my stream that are waking up and they're 18 years old, man. Eat raw meat. Wow, I never thought about that. Alcohol, ethanol kills bacteria. For sure, dude. I come from a heavy, heavy drinking culture, man. That's all they do around here, man, is just drink beer, drink beer, drink beer. And so I know drinkers very well. Nero says, I think getting Vox Day into raw meat seems way harder than getting Owen into. Not sure why, but Boomer seemed hard to red pill in general. It's because they have a different type of gut. They have a better gut than we do. Weston Price proved that guts and stuff like that degenerate over time. And so that's why the generation under me, like the Zoomers, they have a worse gut than I do. That's why those guys are waking up when they're 18 years old. I woke up in my 30s. Boomers and shit like that, they don't wake up till they're like in their 50s or 60s, until they're getting like super chronic diseases, because they were able to go their whole life eating shit like Taco Bell and pizza and drinking beer without having any kind of negative effects, because they have a different physical gut. So that's why people like Vox Day and our parents and our grandparents and stuff like that, they don't understand what the fuck we're doing at all. They have a completely different biological system than us. We got screwed. We inherited a shitty gut from them. And that's why now we're picking up their slack and we're discovering nutrition and health for them. You know what I mean? Daniel, is it worth trying to convince a girl? I kind of love a girl that thinks flax seeds are healthy. Dude, you can't. I'm going to stress this, man. You can't wake up anybody that's not meant to wake up. And if they're not meant to wake up, you'll know right away. So you can't, it's not our job to wake up other people. Only God can wake up other people. And this is something that I learned from Owen too. But I've learned through my experiences as well. But Owen reinforced that concept on one of his streams. It's the rules of the world that we live in, as in, that's how Owen says it, and that's the truth. It's not our job to go around and wake everybody up and be the raw meat Jesus. You know what I mean? It's not our job. It's God's job. But there's nothing wrong with creating a community and creating a place to where when people do wake up, they can come and hang out and talk about it. You know what I mean? Because if we didn't have a community where people could hang out and talk about raw meat and stuff like that, if people do happen to wake up to it, they could potentially go back to sleep if they don't have us to kind of help support them. You know what I mean? Hunchos, haven't seen you in a while. You ever eat thymus gland or spleen or pancreas? Oh yeah. I've eaten thymus, thyroid, adrenal gland. It's all yummy stuff. Luna DC says vaccines, for example. Daniel says, I'm getting hungry watching you. It's good stuff, man. I'm learning how to like carve up a raw chicken because I got a whole chicken this time, so I'm like just butchering it up, and my refrigerator looks like straight Jeffrey Dahmer because I got like half butchered chickens and pork ribs. Black Picture says I prefer chicken cooked. I definitely don't, man. This stuff, I almost like this stuff better than salmon. UI says, why didn't they laugh? Still responds to message, but I think Coddington mostly runs it. All right. What's his other one? He's got another one too, right? Black Picture, do you ever eat cooked? Every once in a while. If I get invited out to lunch or something like that, I'll eat like a cooked prime rib or a ribeye or something. Gregory says I'm 15. Black Picture says I'm 14. Wow. Damn, you guys are freaking lucky, man. I mean, you're unlucky in the sense that you inherited probably a shitty gut from the generation above you, but at least you're waking up to it. That's amazing, dude. That's unbelievable. You guys are lucky, man. You're very lucky. It's going to save you a lot of heartache and a lot of issues in your 20s and shit that we all had to go through. Just wandering around in life, not going anywhere with no direction because we're just eating fucking Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew every day and smoking pot and just, you know, medicating ourselves because our body feels like shit, you know. Just if you avoid all of that, your life is going to be beautiful, man. Gregory DeFranco says, Luna, how is the baby? I'm sure the baby's super healthy. Azul says, if we think about it, if we're on an animal product diet, we need the liver and its full capability. If you're going to drink that, it may overload the liver function, not to mention the loss of bacteria. Yeah, interesting. That's true. Owen probably needs some raw liver from all that drinking. That's very interesting. Luna DC says, very well, thank you. Wolf Shan says, I'm 18 too. Yeah, I knew you were young too. You guys are freaking lucky, man. You guys are super wise for being like teenagers, like unbelievably wise. Conscious Development says, God's real. God's the realist. Not only is he real, he is the realist, man. He's the most real. God is closer to you than you are to your own self. Narrow path. Our job is to plant seeds and move on. Yes, sir. Yep. You got to take the ego out of it, man. That's one thing I learned. That's, I guess, one thing I learned about life, and just one thing that I guess God has revealed to me is that you got to take the ego out of everything. You have to take yourself out of everything and just become a conduit for truth. That's what God wants us to do as his mission, you know what I mean? And I don't like preaching about all this stuff. I'm speaking the truth here. That's the objective of life, is you become a conduit for truth. You don't want to do it for fame or money or anything like that. Plant your truth seeds and move on. Don't take pride in it. Don't take ego in it. Just plant your seeds and move on. UI says, honestly, I think Big Bear would be way more likely to watch an interview or a lecture of Aajonus from Planets than to read one of his books. Also, you can sense his high IQ better in the actual video and audio. Yeah, you can, definitely. Right. Luna DC is right. It just doesn't make sense to eat seeds. Yeah, it really doesn't, does it? Do you remember, like, as a kid, didn't they tell you eating watermelon seeds would, like, you'd grow watermelons in your stomach? I remember that. P. Miller says, I'm 18 as well. That's awesome. Sarah Sapien, hi Wes, what's up today? What's up, Sarah? Snap Crackle Fizzle, yo, what's up? You still fasting, Weston? Definitely not, man. I'm off the fast. I've been eating every single day, especially with my new position, man. It's just I'm doing some heavy lifting and stuff like that. So Nero says, I'm an atheist. How do I find God? I used to be a deist. I just can't believe in God. It's hard. Just be patient, man. Just be patient. Like, it'll probably just become really like apparent to you one day, like it did to me and like it does to a lot of people. The way that I kind of see it, the way that it happened to me is it's almost like a sense. It's like an extra sense that was completely asleep. And then it just woke up and I started realizing that there was this whole other thing out there going on that I wasn't aware of this whole time. That's kind of the best way I can explain it. It's almost like it's almost like your eyes were shut and then they were opened up all of a sudden. So that's the only way I can explain it. It's not something I don't think that you can do to yourself. I honestly think that God chooses certain people to wake up, and then other people are doomed to suffer and die as to be examples. So that's the evidence that I've seen. That seems to be the most true. There's certain people that wake up, and it's a very small percentage of people, man. But certain people are just lucky enough to get rescued. I was going straight to hell, guys. Like, I'm not gonna get into all of like the personal stuff in my life and shit like that, but I was straight on my way to hell for sure. And God like completely rescued me. So when that happens to you, if that does happen to you, if you happen to hit like a rock bottom and then you see the bottom and then you start to climb your way up, you'll start to realize that it wasn't you that did it. It wasn't you that rescued yourself. And you start to see that it was something else that brought you up again. And so that's another way I think people wake up to God. But the easiest way to find God and to wake up to God is through your father. If you have like a good father that represents like the spirit of Christ basically to the family, that's the easiest way to adopt God into your spirit. But a lot of people today have shitty dads, didn't have their real dads, stuff like that. And so they get separated from God until like their 20s and 30s and stuff like that. I mean, and that's what happened to me, because I was separated from my earthly father, and same thing with Owen, man. Owen was separated from his earthly father. He had resentment towards him for a long time, and now Owen is just kind of starting to wake up to God. So it's pretty obvious that's how it works, and Bradley David Good, don't be concerned with the outcome of what you say. Don't hope someone will change to speak. That's true. Lunacy says, wait, you mean God is a father, or what was this about I missed is? So, the way that children, it's called the spiritual order of God, and it's in the Bible, and it is a universal truth, whether you believe it or not. And it goes, God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children. This is the spiritual order of our universe, and this is how God created it. And this is how God's light shines down through the family into the children. It's a direct path. When you separate the father from the children, God can't come through to the children, and the children become separated from God. So you have an earthly father, and then you have a heavenly father. You find the heavenly father through your earthly father. And you'll see this, it's super apparent, it's evident everywhere. Women and men that have very good relationships with their earthly father, they're connected to the heavenly father. They have logos, they have order, they have logic, they have love. When people are separated from their earthly fathers, they're separated from the heavenly father, and they in turn don't have order, don't have logic, don't have love, and they tend to be atheists. So a lot of atheists didn't have their biological fathers, and there's also a correlation with atheism and autism. Nero says, your take on God is very interesting. People who preach God through organized religion put me off. But you opened my mind to God for me. Unfortunately, my dad was a bad man, so I have to do it for myself. Dude, we're in the same boat, buddy. My biological dad was, let's just say he was consumed with evil. I wouldn't say he's a bad man, but he was consumed with evil too. So I'm just explaining it to you how it worked for me. And I think we have a lot more in common than you think, you know. And it probably will work the same way with you. But I suggest you maybe check out Jesse Lee Peterson, because that guy is mind-blowing wisdom. And I was listening to him like 3 hours a day. Like I was eating raw meat, and then I was listening to Jesse Peterson talk about God, and it just, all this stuff just all clicked for me, man. Narrow path, same here. I was hardcore atheist before I found out about all the deceptions in this world, and I never could have imagined. I know. Yeah. French carnivore. Jesse Lee Peterson is right, but diet has to be addressed before forgiving your father and mother. Yeah, it's true. Diet is very important, man. Aajonus archive. Weston, you could advertise the site while there are some people on the stream. All right. Here's some great info on Aajonus, Funder Planets. Check out that website if you guys like Aajonus. Thanks for reminding me, man. Conscious development. What if you were wrong, though? What if this is a godless realm? That just doesn't seem to be the case to me. So there's been so much proof to me, especially like the more I get, I guess you could say, closer to him, to God, and I get closer to that connection to, we can just call it logos if you want. If you don't want to call it God, that's fine. You know, I look at it all as the same thing. God is logos. Logos is the opposite of chaos. Chaos is chaos. Logos is order. Chaos is from Satan. Logos is from God. God loves order. Order is love. Love is not an emotion. Love is logic. Love is order. So when I get shown this order that I've never seen before, and it becomes a part of my life, it's pretty obvious there's some other force out there that's like pushing me towards this orderly existence. You know what I mean? Because I went from an extremely chaotic lifestyle to I don't drink coffee, I don't use sugar, you know what I mean? Like I don't use any drugs, I don't use any alcohol, and you know, I don't have sex out of wedlock with random women. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. And it's just like, if you guys would have known me 5 years ago, you would never believe like the position I'm in right now. So I don't know what the hell caused it. It wasn't me. And once you realize that it's not you doing these things, that you have no actual free will, which is very controversial, but we don't have free will, man. Once you realize that, you start to realize that you're underneath the influence of some other kind of force out there. And then also, there's just the, like, there's the whole thing of like, how the hell did all this stuff come from nothing? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm a Cancer. I'm a Cancer too. She's a loner says, but we need order and chaos. One wouldn't exist without the other, yin and yang. That sounds like something a female would say for sure, and I 100% disagree. No disrespect, I'm just saying that sounds like 100% something that would come from the mind of a female. That's why the order of God is God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children. Andreas, Christianity in the Bible seems to have been edited and parts of it has been hidden by the Vatican or the elites. I think the original Bible was closer to the truth than the modern grabbled version. Yeah, it's been translated and rewritten so many times, it's like, I don't understand it. I don't get too into that stuff. Luckily, Jesse Peterson taught me about that, you know. Beyond Me says, Vox Dei said God gave us free will to see what we would do. I don't know, man. I still don't really, I don't see that. I'm just kind of waking up to that concept, so I'm not really prepared to debate it or anything like that. But I think God gave us enough free will to follow his lead and to serve him, and then only then can we basically walk in the light and walk in order and logic and stuff like that. But until we make that I don't know, it's just, and then sometimes I think that it's only God that wakes people up, and so we're basically just subjected to good and evil until God chooses certain people. I'm really not convinced we have free will though. Because think about it, Jesse Lee Peterson explains it the best, man. If you had free will, think about the last time you made like a horrible mistake in your life, right? Why did you make that mistake? If you have free will and you have all this control over your actions in your life, then why did you make that mistake? You know, it's just, you can't really answer that underneath the guise of a free will. Timothy McNamara, read an article about Armand Tanny, the guy who ate raw meat and raw dairy. Do you know where I can find more information about the guy? Thanks. I know who you're talking about. I got a picture of him on my Instagram, and I don't really know. You'll have to research that yourself. Azul Luza says, wait, what? You are the natural human diet brother from Jesse Chat. I just noticed now. Haha, this is amazing. God bless you. Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, it's definitely me. For sure. Double K says, don't you know the Super Bowl is on? Haha. I have no clue, man. No clue. Not a clue. I never really was interested in watching football, man. Ilze Carmina, could you please explain about free will? Don't we have free will? No, we don't have free will, because basically you're either underneath the influence of good or evil. We're basically like spirits. We're not flesh, we're spirits, and we're underneath the influence of either good or evil. And you don't, of yourself you know nothing, and of yourself you do nothing. We're basically being like controlled. You have to take the ego out of it. Like, Satan wants you to be attached to your ego. He wants you to be attached to your flesh. He wants you to be attached to all the material things in the world. But we don't really, this material world in front of us is all an illusion. All of this stuff you see right here, everything, it's all an illusion. We live in a spiritual realm. We're spirits. So once you let go of your ego and once you realize that you are not your body, then you realize that what your body does is not you. It's something else controlling it. So, and then the other thing I said earlier, you got to take a look at like the last time you made a mistake in your life or you made an error in your life. Like, why would you make that mistake on purpose if you had free will? It just goes to prove that you're not really in control of any of this. And when you look past, like in your past life, look at your like last like 20 years of your life or whatever. When you look at that whole picture of the last 20 years of your life, it seems like you're just getting almost like dragged along into a story and you had nothing to do with it. Gregory DeFranco says, what's your advice on acne for teenagers? Get on this diet and stop drinking pasteurized milk. That's what gave me acne. And you'll eventually clear up and get like perfect skin. But the reason teenagers have so much acne is because their skin or their body detoxes everything so quickly. And so it's going to come out of your skin like super quick. So you just got to get on this diet. Acne is all toxins. It's all pollution and toxins and shit from your food and drugs and the environment coming out of your skin. Once you get rid of all that stuff, it'll go away. Eat raw meat says, I will go to sleep now, but I'll still listen to the stream. Good night. All right, man. Thanks for popping in. We'll see you later. Froya says, hello. What's up, Froya? Nero Machiavelli, sex is probably the hardest thing for me to quit. I quit porn a while ago, but seems natural and healthy. I've been doing it since 13. How do you quit promiscuity? Well, once you wake up to the fact that you realize that a lot of women, they control men through sex. Once you wake up to that, it's really hard to go back on it because then you're realizing you're being controlled either by the woman or your impulses, either one. But ultimately, you'll see that in most cases, especially if you're having like regular sex with a woman and she's like, let's say she's like beautiful too, right? You're getting controlled by that. And, women do this all the time, man. It's not like this has been going on for thousands of years, but it's a way basically to control men. So if you don't want to be controlled, then I would suggest quitting sex. And also, like I told you about earlier, it's like you could accidentally like get someone pregnant and then start a family with somebody that you never should start a family with. And then I've just seen that stuff like break men, basically, like completely break men apart. When they have like a baby with some girl they never should have, and then they can't see their kid because they don't want to live with the girl, and then the kid starts getting raised by someone else, some other man. So you have some other man raising your child, and it's like it can lead to a lot of problems down the road. So you got to look at that angle of it too, But I agree, man. It's like extremely hard to quit that, but you can definitely do it. Just don't be hard on yourself about it. Don't think about it too much, and just like Jesse Peterson says, become aware. Like when you're doing it, become aware of what you're doing. Don't get all into it. Don't get all obsessed with it. Don't get all emotionally attached to it. Just start becoming aware of what you're doing, and then you'll wake up eventually. Andreas, but why would God create earth and place us here just to serve and love him? I have a hard time seeing what God would do that. Later I might figure it out. There's a lot of questions that I can't answer, man. You know what I mean? I'm not prepared to answer. This stuff is all really complicated. I'm not sure why he created Earth at all. I'm not afraid to say that either. I don't know. Narrow path. I think the big mistakes are due to things like emotions or lust, not rational thinking. Exactly. Yeah, as soon as a man starts thinking with emotions, then he's subjected to all sorts of evil in the world. Because this world that we live in is like built to appeal to your emotions. Double K says we have free will. You can believe that all you want, man, but I don't see it. This is a great debate. I'm not really prepared to debate it, because this isn't necessarily a debating channel, but I can understand why you believe that. I believed that for a long time, man. This isn't something that I learned from the Bible. It's something that I've seen with my eyes. Runt, interesting point of lack of free will, but perhaps it's something like most of us have, these parasitic relationships with people, food, society, and once we break those parasitic bonds, you become more free. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure those things hold you down, but ultimately it's like, I still don't see evidence that human beings are actually doing anything of their own. I think it's all God. Gregory DeFranco, anybody here in chat know about floor sleeping? Floor sleeping is the best. Floor sleeping is the best, man. Highly recommend it. Get like a thin yoga mat or a camping mat. Belly Bell, with the order that you're saying, God, man, woman, children, do you think that women have to obey men and are less worthy? No, definitely not. It's a spiritual order. So like the family works best when the wife looks to the husband as the spiritual leader, because the husband represents God. The husband represents Christ. Christ represents God, but essentially the husband represents God to the family. The father represents God to the children. So that's just how it works, man. It's not, I'm not trying to be misogynistic or anything like that. It's what I see as just a truth of the world we live in. It's not a reason to disrespect women. It's not a reason to disparage women. Doesn't mean they're less worthy at all. It's a spiritual truth. Conscious development, sex is such an unquenchable desire. It sure seems that way. It can definitely be quenched, though. It seems unquenchable in our society today that's just like full of pornography and shit like that. Stop watching porn first, and then kind of go from there. Froya says, have lots of babies with the woman you love. That's right. Conscious development. I saw a rabbi on Chris Hansen's To Catch a Predator. Yeah, I saw a rabbi on there too. That was a little weird. He was definitely a little molesty looking too. Luna DC, I think he more so means that God gives message through men to women and women to children in that order, and that's how it reaches the child and why it's important it starts with the man. That's exactly what it is, Luna. Luna, you're a good woman. Goddess, you got a good woman there, man. If you can find a woman that understands that, you got a good woman. Luna DC says, wait, what have you seen with your own eyes? Maybe I should just listen more than type. Well, I just look at my life, you know what I mean? It's just like, and I've heard this years ago, way before I even understood God or free will or anything. Look back at the last like 20 years of your life and go and just think like, did I really do all of that? Or did it feel like something else was controlling me the whole time and I just kind of was riding this wave? You just got to kind of sit back and just think about stuff for a minute and just intuitively look at the big picture and think about, am I really in control of all this stuff, or am I just kind of riding some kind of wave? And when you see that you're riding some kind of wave that actually undulates, goes up and down, life gets good, life gets bad, life gets good, life gets bad. After you've lived on this planet for a few decades, you're going to see that pattern up and down, up and down. I've almost nailed it down to like 7-year cycles where my life goes great for 7 years and then it kind of dips for 7 years, but then it gets awesome for 7 years and then it's kind of okay for 7 years. And if you look at that and that happens to you, so you start to realize that you don't have free will. So that's kind of the stuff that I've seen with my own eyes. And also I've done things in my life that obviously like I'm not proud of. And when I look back at that, after you wake up, like after you really, really wake up like I have, and you look at some of just like the ridiculous shit I used to do, just stupid stuff like stealing and like just vandalism, stuff that like typical young males do. You start to realize that it wasn't even you that did that. It was like something else like controlling you. It's very, very interesting. So that's why I don't believe in free will, because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm possessed by good and evil at certain times, but not evil anymore. But I just feel like at times in my life, I've been controlled by those things. She's the loner says, but we can commit suicide. That wouldn't be possible if we didn't have free will. But the thing is you didn't commit suicide. Like Satan convinced you to commit suicide. You didn't do that. Satan is what did that. Satan controlled you. Satan made you grab that knife and stab yourself. I truly believe that stuff. Luna DC says, what is your year sign? I wish I could tell you, but I'm really, really careful about giving out specific information about myself so people can't like dox me and shit like that. So Horatio Washington, not all Christians believe in free will. Some Christians believe God preordains everything, although compatibilism makes the most sense. I assume you mean like a struggle between good and evil? Absolutely. And yeah, there's a lot of disagreements between Christians and stuff. Or so-called Christians, we should say. A lot of fake ones out there. Killer Clown, time to eat raw wings and milk for the Super Bowl. That sounds good. Gregory DeFranco, do you use a pillow when floor sleeping? Yes. I have a hard time doing it without a pillow. And I don't know if it's because I have like a bigger frame. Like I have like broader shoulders or something. It's weird. Like, cause when I can't do that a pillow. My shoulders prop my body too much off the ground. Kai Salas says, someone make a raw primal dating app. Start a YouTube channel. That might get some ladies filing in. Luna DC, right. I've always thought about that. If I ever get a child, I would be 27. Forgot about that, and here I am. Exactly, right. Luna DC, even used to think I didn't want to bring children into this world. Me too. Me too. I used to think there wasn't enough love in my family and in the world to bring children into it. That's just such a dark thought, man. That's like stuff that Satan tells you. Once you realize that like Satan is he's responsible for all deception and all fear in your mind. Like once I started basically completely clearing out my mind and just becoming like just totally fresh again, like almost reborn, you start to realize that all those like ruminating thoughts, all those like just negative thoughts and angry thoughts and just all that shit, because I don't have any of that shit anymore, not even a smidgen of it. You're like, where the fuck did that shit come from? Like, what was that? It was like some radio station playing in my head. You know what I mean? Controlled by Satan or something. And I truly believe that Satan is in control of all angry thoughts. He's in control of all fearful thoughts, all despair. Anything that's negative in your mind is getting pumped out from basically hell. Conscious development. Does Satan empower his followers? Maybe a fake sense of power, for sure. It's not real power, though. It's a deceptive form of power. It's like a false sense of power that ultimately eats you away. Freya says, I want to have many children. That's awesome. Yeah, children are great, man. Horatio says sleeping with pillows sucks. Really? I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, I guess I'm a side sleeper, so I have a really hard time. Like, so if I sleep on my side, this part is on the ground, and look at my head. My head can't even touch, you know what I'm saying? It can't even touch the ground. P. Miller, I ended up cutting off a friend who said I was weird for wanting children. He said they're annoying and all he wants to do is get rich. Yeah, man. I actually had my half brother said that one time to me like 3 years ago. My half older brother, who I actually like looked up to for a while and stuff, you know. He was like, I don't want kids, man. You know, it was really like such a weird conversation because he's like, you know, a 6'6" dude with a beard and stuff. He's just like, I don't want children, and it was just one of those beta things I've ever heard a man say. And I just remember it really like it rubbed me the wrong way because I was like, what are you talking about? Runt, what kind of animal skins are best for sleeping on? What was Eat Raw Meat telling me? Like sheep or lamb, maybe? Possibly? I can't remember what he said. It's a good question, though. And I need to get some good skins to sleep on. Some fur. Might have to look into that. Luna DC says it's a little indicator of what drives you. Yeah, I kind of somewhat believe in that stuff because I am a Cancer, yeah. And but I'm also like right on the line of Gemini too, so there may be a little bit of Gemini going on in there as well. But when I mean right on the line, I'm like right on the line. Killer Clown, do you think some humans are just straight up evil and it's not Satan influencing them? Definitely not, dude. Definitely not. Dude, there is gigantic forces at play here that are way bigger than us, man. Humans can't just be evil without something else influencing them. That's where it comes from. That's the root of evil, is from Satan. Daniel says, what do you think about metal music, Weston? I'm not into it so much anymore, but I used to listen to a lot of like I like specific bands, like obviously like Tool. I've seen Tool a couple times live. That was pretty sweet. And I liked this one album by I don't know. There's specific groups that I listen to. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like metal in general, but like I've listened to a lot of different kinds of music, man. Like a lot of varieties and stuff like that. And I don't have anything against metal, but I just kind of go through phases of music where I listen to this and I listen to that. And lately, I went through like a long phase of like electronic music and stuff like that because I found it like the most relaxing and with the most logos. Horatio Washington, yes, Satan gives power to those who seek it, but nothing Satan can give you is everlasting. Yeah, totally, man. It's all fake. Like you got to look at like the power that Satan gives is like fake Hollywood power. Like the power of a celebrity, that's a perfect example of the power of Satan. Because God tells you not to worship false idols and stuff like that, and like basically like rock stars and celebrities and shit like that are false idols. And so when you see what happens, like all of the tragic shit that happens to celebrities and rock stars, all the drug addiction, all of the weird sexual stuff, and a lot of celebrities like lose children and shit like that, and like horrible disasters. You start to see, and a lot of them don't have families, and they just become like rich and lonely at the end of their life. That's a perfect example of like satanic power, of the power of Satan, because it'll get you rich, he'll give you all the drugs, he'll give you all the sexy women, and then you'll find yourself like 55 years old, living in LA with no family and shit like that. So that's just a perfect example. Nero says, how many kids would you like to have once you got your homestead? Man, to be honest, I would like to have a lot, dude. But I would say between 3 and 6. Horatio Washington, everyone has evil within them, but you can entirely give in to Satan or accept God. Yeah, I think that's true. We have basically, I don't know if everyone has evil within them, but everyone is being subjected to evil at every given moment because Satan has his hands in everything. Satan has his hands in these live streams, Satan is basically the creator of money, you know what I'm saying? And I get super chats, so it's like, Satan's a part of that. It's very interesting stuff, man. So you got to always just kind of be aware of his manipulations. P. Miller says, halftime coming up. Let's see how demonic this singer is. I can't imagine. It's going to be like a 5-headed transsexual monster. Bradley David Good. Big men in shiny tight pants running around chasing a ball and banging into each other, giving each other head injuries. Yeah, exactly. Silly. Yeah, I always thought football was a little ridiculous. You guys know football is war simulation, right? It's a simulation of war. 2 armies clashing together. They created football after World War II when young men had nothing to do after the war. So very interesting when you see that. And we all know that war is evil. So, Zanim, thoughts on Islam? I have no issue with Muslims, man. They're worshiping the same God I think that Christians are and every other religion is. So, and I've never had any reason to dislike them or anything like that. And so, they're welcome. To my chat. Froy, I also want to farm with lots of animals. That's the life. That's the life. Luna DC says lamb's wool. That sounds legit. Daniel says walking around big cities shows you that people aren't in control at all. Just observe strangers. Yeah. Luna DC says, yes, you do have some Gemini energy for sure. That's interesting. Meat Man, how was your day today? It was good, man. I got some sun. It was great. Had a good phone call today. That was really cool. And yeah, it's been awesome, man. It was like 60 degrees today, which is unbelievable. Waterblade Nights. So I cut a piece of my first raw steak and it didn't taste good at all. Got it from the supermarket. Thoughts? Was it bad meat? I mean, it's possible, but to be honest with you, it took me a while to get used to raw meat myself and raw eggs and stuff like that. So give it some time, man. And if you don't like the taste of it, wash it down with water or milk. I would say milk. But I didn't have milk at the time when I first started, so I washed it down with water. So just wash it down with something if you don't like the taste of it, and eventually you'll get over that. Gregory DeFranco, do you think the primal diet will improve my athletic abilities, specifically swimming? Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely. Your endurance will go up like crazy, like crazy. The first time I noticed that my endurance went up on this diet was I used to go on bike rides for like 10 or 15 miles or something like that, and just throw on some music and ride my bike down this. We have these paths that go through my city, and these paths run actually like over 20 miles, like 25 miles. And I used to run like 10 to 15 miles on my bike, and then I got on this diet, and I rode 40 miles one day. It was freaking ridiculous, dude. And I wasn't even sweating. Miguel says the Third Reich is heavily censored and its leader one of the most lied men in history. I agree. Narrow Path, do you know if dental caries can be reversed by diet alone? Always found it strange that only humans need a dentist, but it's an unnatural cigarette diet I know now. I think it is possible. I've heard a lot of people say that it is possible, especially if you like, Aajonus said like stick stuff like bone marrow, get raw bone marrow and shove it up in your teeth. Drink a lot of milk, calcium, stuff like that. Nero says Muslims are causing massive havoc in my city. See, um, you say it's Muslims, I say it's evil. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm just looking at a more broader control over that. Evil controls Muslims, evil controls Christians, evil controls Indians, evil controls the Aztecs, the Mayans. So you got to be careful about pointing the finger at the flesh, because the Muslim is the flesh, right? We are not flesh. We are spirits. We are not in a battle of flesh and blood. We are in a spiritual battle. So the point of Satan is to get you to point the finger at the other human being and to create wars between humans so we kill each other. So you gotta kind of get out of that thinking, because that's totally Satan doing that shit. But I mean, I understand what you're saying 100%, dude, but that's something that I woke up to big time that like really blew my mind. And because yeah, basically it's like it's one of those like false binary things, you know what I mean? Us versus the Muslims versus us, all that shit. It's like a lot of that stuff comes from the media, you know what I mean? At least the terminology. They're getting you to use the terminology Muslim and stuff like that. But if you never knew what a Muslim was, right? Let's say you never knew what the religion was, you never knew what a Muslim was, and you just saw a bunch of people causing massive havoc in your city, you would describe it as evil, because evil is actually what it is at its root, you know? Double K, how do you not have control? I'm controlling myself right now, or I'd be in prison. You think you're controlling yourself, but it's all an illusion, man. I'm telling you, it's all an illusion. Apparently, you know, God is with you and He's keeping you from going to prison. Bradley Difficult, we're getting your 60 degrees in sun tomorrow here in Pennsylvania. Looking forward to it. It's been nice all over the country. Isn't that weird? Yeah, it's awesome, man. It was really refreshing getting that vitamin D. Gregory DeFranco says 40 miles. That's amazing. I know, isn't that ridiculous? Just riding your bike 40 freaking miles. Jeremy R. Man, you need sun. I've been sunbathing last week and feel absolutely amazing. It has complete me now. Even if you can vacation for a few days. Dude, trust me. You don't have to sell me on the sun, dude. I know all about it. I try to get the sun as much as I can, and when I do, it just like I'm a completely different person in the sun, 100%. Kai Salas sent $5. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You were talking about those 7-year cycles of life being good and not good. You are close to the truth. I recommend reading the Kai Balion if interested. Okay. I'll have to write that down. I'll write that down. I got a pen here somewhere. That's how it worked for me, man. I traced my life down to exactly almost 7-year cycles. But you gotta live a few decades for it to make sense. You gotta live 4 or 5 of those cycles in order to see it. You know what I mean? Dang, what was that book, that Fat of the Land? Fat of the Land, are you still here? What was that book you recommended? I take you guys seriously, man, because I've learned so much from you guys. They say that you are a combination of every person you've met in your life. This channel is a combination of everybody I've met on YouTube, including Aajonus.online. Like I said, I don't have free will. I didn't create this channel. It's like you guys created this channel, or God created this channel, and I got the information from you guys. But without you guys, without God, without this information, I wouldn't have this channel. I didn't just wake up one day and just understood all this stuff and started streaming. It was like, it somehow came from somewhere else. Azul says, don't look at the flesh, look at the principality. Political Islam, exactly. It's the principality. Nero says, I see your point, West. It's going to take a long time to break my racial and Darwinistic views. I was a far-right activist many years. Yeah, I would suggest dropping your anger. That's one of the best things that I ever did in my life. You just, the way that I did it is I asked God to take my anger away, and he just took my anger away. It was like really interesting. But I was like somewhat of an angry person in my 20s and stuff like that, you know, and I realized how destructive that is. And it's when you're angry, man, like you're underneath complete control of evil, dude. So you start getting subjected to those weird concepts and getting manipulated to attack people you shouldn't attack and stuff like that. Michigan Joe, what do you think of Kobe Bryant's death and the media reaction? May his soul rest in peace, for sure. I'll say that first off. And also, I will say, don't fly in a fucking helicopter. Just take the interstate, man. Runt. The weather machines were shut down today. Exactly. You mean the Jew-controlled weather machines? Jeremy R., the sun is so weak up north, it would take me weeks to get this far ahead. For sure, definitely. Zenim, if you have no problem with Islam or other religions, why is it that you specifically chose Christianity? You know, man, like, I say that I believe in God and I believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ, but Christianity, I'm not even sure what that is. That honestly sounds like a way to create a false binary concept, like Christianity versus atheism, Christianity versus Muslim, whatever. I think that we're all worshiping the same God, obviously, because there's only one that created all this shit. And all these religions are all man-made, and I think they're being possibly controlled by Satan in order to create wars against each other. But if you remove yourself from all the religious stuff, and and you just kind of have a direct connection with the source, I think that's the best way to go about it. So I wouldn't say I specifically chose Christianity. I was raised in church and all that stuff. I just found that the teachings found in the Christian Bible and the teachings found that are written about Jesus in the Bible, they ring so true to me that it was undeniable as the truth. So that's why I chose it. Daniel says the Old Testament explicitly denies the Muslim assertion that the pre-Islamic Ishmaelites knew and worshipped the true God, and that their only problem was that they associated other gods with him. Yeah, I'm not 100%. I haven't read a whole lot of the Old Testament. Luna DC, 7 years to shed your skin. Luna DC says that's because of your intelligence as well. You're mad because you're not understood. Yeah, honestly, that was a big part of it too, for sure. Yeah, it does kind of suck being like, I guess having like a pretty high IQ sometimes. I feel like kind of a weirdo. Beyond me, so do drunk people have less free will, or are they just more evil? I think drunk people are underneath the control of spirits, and that's why they call alcohol spirits. I think spirits can inhabit drunk people. That's why drunk people have such a varying variety of reactions depending on the alcohol and stuff. You can either be happy, you can be sad, you can be violent, you can be sexual, overly sexual. I think spirits inhabit the bodies of drunk people. Killer Clown, God is the universe itself, as we are a part of God, like a cell is part of you are. You are will and God's will, but are one. Satan would be the cancer going against the universe. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I agree with that. Luna DC, source is the better word, or higher intelligence. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are resistant to the word God, which is very interesting if you think about it. It's almost a red flag if you think about it. Like, why are people so resistant to the word God? You know what I mean? Like, why would people be so resistant to the idea of a creator? Like, what's so wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of interesting. Conscious development. Yeah, that's definitely the real Luna, for sure. Andres, how much do you usually spend on food over a month's time? I average, okay, so I'm about 15 bucks a day right now. I've actually got a bunch cheaper, which is really nice. But when I eat stuff like king salmon and stuff like that, or even like sockeye salmon, it gets up to about 20 to 25 to like 30 bucks a day, especially when I eat oysters with it. So I probably average about 20 a day. Gregory DeFranco, are you full? I'm getting pretty satiated, yeah. This is a pretty heavy meal here. I drank a whole thing of milk, about a pound of chicken here. Good stuff though. Is raw meat filling? It's pretty filling. Luna DC says creator works well because they'd like to believe they are in control, right? They want to believe that they're creating themselves. Daniel Drury. Hey, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Okay, into Orthodox Christianity. Orthodox is legit. Yeah, that's cool, Daniel. Yeah, you can just think out loud, man. I don't read everybody's comments. Just because I don't read your comment doesn't mean I like disagree with it. It's just I don't uh, I don't get too into like theology debates and stuff like that. Luna DC says ideally we would believe we created ourselves, right? Like that's what Satan wants you to believe, that you are in control, you created yourself, you can destroy yourself, all that stuff. Miguel, why would an incomprehensible, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent being, that's a lot of big words, brother, like God would bother with all of this? It seems very far-fetched. I don't know. Well, you forgot humble, man. God is humble as well. You know what I mean? Being humble is a part of God. So he's not this like, he's not all of that. He's not just all of that. You know what I mean? He's also a very humble man, and he's full of love. So you're missing a couple things there. He created all of this in order to create love. He created suffering in order to create love, because you have to experience suffering in order to discover love, because love is the antidote to suffering. Once you suffer enough in your life, like I have and a lot of people have, we all suffer, guys. But some people go through an exceptional amount of suffering in their life, and once you go through that, you discover love, which is logic and order, and it's the antidote of suffering. And so ultimately, God created Satan in order to create suffering so we would discover love. That's how it works. Nero says, can't help but feel a lot of resistance, to be honest. All these concepts we've been talking about is going to take time for me to wrap my mind around. It does take a minute. Runt says, highest quality men are desired by many in theory, but only truly sought out by few, similar to the desire for God. So few people want the responsibility that comes with higher consciousness. Right. It is a lot of responsibility. You got to quit all of your earthly desires and earthly impulses and stuff like that. I didn't think I would ever be able to get to that point, ever. You know what I mean? Just, drinking and smoking pot and, having sex and, porn and junk food and all that, just coffee and just, oh man, just all that stuff. Like, if you want to walk in the light of God, you got to give all that shit up. Your anger, people hate giving up their anger. Judgment, you got to give up all your judgment. It's like that stuff is really hard for people to wrap their mind around, to give up. But it's one step at a time for sure. Bradley says, Satan created your ego and made you believe an illusion that you are a body and a person with a story. Yeah, exactly. That you're a special boy. Satan wants you to think you're a special little smart boy. Daniel Dreary says, cheers, man, God bless. Hey, God bless to you, man. Daniel says, had anyone noticed 666 in barcodes? I've noticed 666 on license plates quite a bit. That's kind of freaky. I saw one the other day that had a vegan symbol on it. It had 666 on the plate and then vegan. A little vegan little check mark. Azul says, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. They didn't lie on that one. Look around you. That's true, man. Miguel says, yes, we all suffer, but why bother? He's just eating popcorn while watching all of us living our lives just because. A being that can do anything. I don't think he's eating popcorn, dude. He's probably eating raw meat, but, he's He's not just observing, he's also a part of all of this. Way more than you can probably imagine. I'm gonna let my dogs out and get some milk. I'll be right back, guys. Miguel says, can God prevent evil? Definitely. Because God represents like order and logic, and evil represents chaos. So when you have order and logic, you become more resistant to the chaos. Daniel says, would you rather die or get chipped? I mean, I would probably take the chip over death. It's funny you say, I'm not going to let anything under my skin. Look how many people get tattoos, though. That's putting shit under your skin. That's actually putting symbols underneath your skin. Zanim, do you believe our spirits ascend to another realm after death, and that we used to be animals before we became humans? I don't think we used to become animals, no. It's hard to say, though. It's hard to say how all this stuff started, but and I don't know if we go to another realm. I honestly think that it's possible that we stay in this realm. We stay here. Honestly, man, it makes way more sense to me that when we die, we stay right here. Miguel says, but then does God know about all evil there is? Oh, for sure. God definitely knows, like you said, he knows everything. He's omnipotent and omniscient. That's true. As Joel says, Cam, on everyone is chipped in our days. Look at your hands. It's a cell phone that tracks everything you do. No shit. Ain't that the truth? Gregory says, I used to have thoughts on when we die, we'll leave the body, but stay on Earth and observe. Yeah, I think we might stay here too. I mean, it's hard for me to visualize my spirit going like, woo, like into space or something like that. It seems more realistic that we stay right here. Miguel says, then does God want to prevent said evil? The best way I can explain it, man, and I'm not trying to proselytize, and I'm not trying to make this like a religious channel or anything, but I don't mind talking about it, but I'm just saying, I'm making it clear that's not who I am. I have a personal relationship with God, and I try to explain it the best I can to other people, but I still think it's up to God to wake those people up. But I can still try to articulate it for you, but I can't wake your spirit up. But I can try to articulate it in an intellectual sense, you know what I mean? Which probably, who knows? It's interesting, but it may not actually like wake people up. But the way that I see it is God created evil in order to create suffering, so suffering could create love. It's a chain. It's like a loop. So I think that God doesn't want to prevent evil because God will let people suffer through their lives. God will let you become homeless. God will let you become a drug addict and a prostitute and go through years of suffering. God will make you and let you do that shit. It happens to people all the time. You know, He allows it to happen. And I think He allows it to happen so people will discover and create love. The mark of the beast is circumcision, guys. The mark of the beast is every male on the first day he's on planet Earth, they cut a piece of your dick off and leave a scar on your dick. That's the mark of the beast. Some are lucky and don't get it. Gregory DeFranco says, how would one go about opening the parents' mind up to the primal diet? That'll probably never happen. You gotta wait for other people to wake up on their own. It's really hard to wake people up on this stuff. It's not our job. Miguel says, if so, God doesn't seem loving or that good. I mean, it's hard to intellectualize this stuff, Miguel. I mean, it's really hard to summarize a spiritual concept with the English language. You know what I mean? So I would just say be patient, man, and just hopefully God will wake you up someday. But it's not something that you're going to learn from me. It's not something you're going to learn from a book. It's not something you're going to learn from the Bible, man. It's something that just happens. It's like a spiritual awakening that it just happens. You know what I'm saying? Try not to intellectualize it so much. Runt says, damn, if that was ever a truth drop. I hadn't thought about circumcision. Telling you. When it happens to you, you think about it. When you got to look at your sliced up dick every day, you know what I'm saying? You're like, wait a minute. There's a piece of my penis missing. Where'd that go? Andreas, that's a really interesting thought. Never seen circumcision as mark of the beast. Yeah, of course it is, man. It's the very first thing that happens to you. It's on the first day. Gregory, so if I'm 15, how will I start to get my own food? Well, get it. You got to get your own job. I had a job when I was 12. I've been working since I was 12 years old. Paper route, newspaper route, even though a lot of people don't read the newspaper that much anymore, but still people do. You can get a newspaper route. You can, I was doing stuff like corn detasseling. I worked at McDonald's when I was 15. I worked at like telemarketing centers when I was 16. You got to get your job, and then when you turn like 17, get your own place. Get your own apartment so you can eat your own food. Daniel, good night. Rest of the day, guys. All right, man. Take it easy, Daniel. I'm probably going to go another half hour, guys. I'm probably going to go to 2.5 hours a day and then wrap it up. I gotta go take a little bathy bath tonight. Miguel, you're overthinking it, brother. I know. I understand what you're trying to do. Just trying to use my logos. Yeah. You're kind of overthinking it. You're overanalyzing it. You really are, man. You got to not use your brain so much. Use your heart. Andreas, thankfully I'm not circumcised. It's not a thing in Sweden and has never been. You're lucky, man. Yeah. And it's not like I don't I don't have any issues down there. Let's not, let's not get it messed up. But, um, it's still, once you realize it, like once you wake up to it, it'll make you mad a little bit that someone got away with doing that to you. You know what I'm saying? Gregory says I had a summer job and made $800. Nice. Yeah, throw that in the bank, brother. Monarch's Eye, not being circumcised has not prevented anyone from buying or selling. This is not the mark. Maybe not, but it's still interesting. Nero says you crack me up. I'm glad I can make you guys laugh. Gregory says, do you think that would last me though? Just keep piling up on that, man. Just keep stacking up money. That's the point, Just keep working and getting more and more and more. You gotta always have some sort of income, man. If you're 15 or 16 years old, you're ready to start working and getting some income going as a man, So just always be looking for jobs, no matter what it is. Just always have a steady source coming in, and you'll save up a lot of money over time. Xanium says, if you eat primal, how long do you expect to live? Bradley says 149. That sounds about right. I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't really care about that as much as I do I want to live just a healthy life, like a sane life with good mental health and stuff like that. And so I would be happy if I lived to 80. You know what I'm saying? 80 would be perfect. But if I lived to 90 or 95, that would be pretty amazing, Because they say like taller guys have like a somewhat shorter lifespan, and I am a pretty tall dude. And also, I lived like well over 3 decades of just like polluting the shit out of my body. So according to Aajonus, it takes 40 years to get that out of your system. So I'm going to be like in my 70s by the time all the pollution is out of my body. But that's not even counting the pollution that I'm getting nowadays from in my 30s to 70s. You know what I mean? It's like I work basically I work around all sorts of shit, man. I work around welding. I work around dust. But I wear masks and shit too. But still, it's like I'm subjected to pollution still. So Zanim says, if I can ask, what's your job? Yeah, that's basically, I work at a construction company. Not going to be too specific, but we have like basically like a metal shop, and we have like a warehouse and a metal shop, and then we have like a bunch of offices and stuff like that. But yeah, basically I'm mostly around like the warehouse and the metal shop and shit like that. So there's a lot of welding, grinding of metal, metal dust, shit like that. You know what I mean? Which is, some of you guys probably think it's crazy that I'm on this diet and I'm in that environment. But when you're a man and you gotta pay the bills somehow, and you don't want to rot in a desk somewhere, you're going to be subjected to some sort of environmental threat. You know what I mean? And it's not realistic where I live to get like an outside job, as much as that would be ideal. You know what I'm saying? We have winters. We have like 3 to 4 month long winters here where it's like you're not going to want to work outside. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing to do here in the Midwest is get like an inside construction job. But I gotta say, it's pretty cool working in like a metal shop, man. It's pretty awesome. Gregory, how long would it take to detox from 15 years of pollution? Aajonus says 40 years, man. So you're lucky. You'll be in like in your 50s, and you'll be in pretty good shape. We're all gonna be like in our 70s. Javier says, sorry to derail a bit. No, that's okay. We can switch it up. What do you think about soft-boiled eggs? Sounds good to me. Runt says, peaceful vibes, fam. Later, Wes. All right, see you later. Good to see you again. Zanam says, maybe in the future you can live off of YouTube. Yeah, interesting. Never thought about that. It's possible, maybe, I guess, huh? Yeah, I guess I never thought about that. Maybe. I guess if I build this up enough and they don't like shadow ban me too much, That's really the issue, is they shadow ban the hell out of my channel, man. Because I still get like new people popping in every once in a while, you know? But when I first started my channel, it was like all sorts of people all the time coming in. It was weird. But now it totally changed. The only thing that I haven't quit, the only like compulsion that I haven't quit is chewing my nails. Isn't that weird? I still love to chew my nails. That was like my original raw meat diet, was like chewing my cuticles. Gregory says, what do you drink to stay hydrated besides raw milk? I drink Mountain Valley mineral water. Xanium, it's because you tell the truth. Yeah, no doubt. Bradley David Good, what does shadow ban mean? They fudge my subscriber numbers, so I should be like well over like 2,000 subscribers right now, but they're like keeping me. They make it look so I have less subscribers than I really do, so as to decrease the morale of the group and decrease the morale of me, to make me think like my channel's not growing. And also they keep people from finding my channel. Like they don't promote my channel as much through the algorithm, so I don't get like a whole bunch of new people popping all the time. And the reason I think that is because, like I said at the beginning, when I first started my channel like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I noticed that there was a much more diverse group of people popping in, right? Like let's say like a lot more gammas and stuff like that. So I had to like ban a lot more people. But now it's like, maybe I just scared all the gammas away, but it seems like the only people that I get now are people that are like already searching for raw meat, if that makes sense, right? So they're not necessarily pushing, but that's fine. That's honestly fine with me, because like I said, you can't wake up like new people to this stuff, and I really only want people that are already okay with raw meat anyways, you know what I'm saying? So I guess it kind of works out in the end. And I'm not really, I know this channel is not going to get like massively huge because raw meat is such like a weird thing, but you know, I'll keep my eyes open and my ears open to whatever's possible. Nero says, should be possible to live off of YouTube if you live in a farm with your own animals, I imagine. Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. In the next couple years, if I start to make some like really cool videos on like homesteading and stuff like that, like no gardening, just milk, eggs, stuff like that. Zanium says, you definitely got a new subscriber thanks to Gatis. Awesome, man. I'm glad he sent some people over. That was really cool. Narrow path, your channel never showed, came here via Sverige. Yeah, see, that's interesting. That's two guys that you guys are probably searching for raw meat stuff all the time, and you're like linked in with this whole raw meat community, and like my channel never showed up. It's pretty interesting. They're trying to separate all of us so we don't create an army. It's very, very obvious what they're doing. Andreas, you should really try to write a letter convincing Owen looking into Aajonus and raw meats. I will probably try to sneak in a letter as well. Yeah. Does anyone know his address? What is it? P.O. Box 727 or something? If anyone knows Owen's address, could you post it for me? Because I was going to write him a letter one time, but I forgot his address. I know it's Gig Harbor, Washington, but I don't know. It's P.O. Box something 727 or something. Nero says, my batteries are running out. Before I pass, I just want to let you know, great stream as always, my man. All right, man. Yeah, good to see you too, Nero. Appreciate that. Zenim says we need a platform better than YouTube. I agree, but I honestly think that this might be the best it gets, because like these are the kind of the rules of the world we live in. You know what I mean? Like they'll let you talk, they'll let you whisper a little bit amongst your people, but they want to keep us in our own little corner. You know what I mean? Monarch Tai says, you run a good show here. Appreciate that. Thank you. Zanem says, when will be the next live stream? It'll probably, honestly, I'll try to do one this week. We'll see. If the weather starts to get nicer again, I'll have like a little bit more energy. But to be honest, guys, it's been just like blizzards and no sunlight for 3 weeks. So it's really hard to do a live stream after you work for like 8 hours a day and there's zero sunlight and just snow all the time. It's no energy. But if the weather's nice, I'll do one this week. But I'll definitely do another one next Saturday. I'm probably going to wrap up in about 10 minutes, y'all. This chicken was good, man. Yeah, you guys can pretty much count on, unless I have to go out of town or something for a weekend or work or something like that, you can almost guarantee I'll be here every weekend. I think I poured way too much milk. Time for a little dessert. A little honeycomb for dessert. A little local raw honeycomb. Horatio Washington, are you eating raw pork? I got some hanging in my garage. It's been there for like a week or two. I think I'm gonna try to pull some off the ribs and eat some here. I might eat some next week. Dang, I'm getting full. There's some honeycomb, the honeycomb stream. Good stuff. If you haven't had honeycomb, man, this is the best. Too bad it's in plastic. Alright, hi, Avier. See you later, man. Team Noir, let me ask. Did you lose some weight when going from carnivore to raw because of satiation and such? I don't remember specifically losing weight, no. Maybe. Well, honestly, man, I was only carnivore for 1 month. I basically just went almost like straight to raw. So it's hard to tell what happened between carnivore and raw with me because I was only carnivore for like 1 month. And then I just went to raw meat. How long have you been raw? I've been raw since August of 2018. %100% raw. Besides, I ate a little bit of pasteurized goat butter for a couple months, and then I've eaten like probably half a dozen cooked steaks. I knew it was 727. Thanks, man. Thanks, Andreas. I appreciate that. I'm going to send him a letter. P.O. Box 727, Gig Harbor, Washington 98335. You guys, if you guys watch this stream, tell me if he reads my letter, because I don't really watch this stream that much anymore. I don't have time, but let me know if he reads my letter. I'll send him a letter this week. I'll handwrite it too, so he reads it. Miguel, do you sunbathe? When the sun is out, definitely. I always have my shirt off when I'm in my backyard and stuff. I don't care what my neighbors think. I just take my shirt off. If the sun's out, my shirt's off. Dale Lloyd, is the honey for weight gain or to simply enjoy or other? The honey is for enzymes, man. Honey is almost all enzymes, and enzymes help you digest food. That's why honey goes so great with food, because it helps you digest it. But also for pleasure, man. Honey's like so delicious. All right, guys. This has been another goodie. It's been great talking to you guys. Welcome to the newcomers, and I'll probably do another one. Try to do one this week, but you can guarantee I'll be here again next weekend. Andreas, I'll be careful how I formulate myself in sending a letter. You don't want to become a new meme or be called a gamma if you're trying to help you beat. Definitely. Oh yeah, I'm way better at articulating myself through like words and writing and stuff like that than speaking. So I'll make sure I write it really well. But all right, guys, y'all take it easy. God bless everybody.